Welcome to Ladybird Readers. If you have enjoyed looking and listening to my books, please consider liking and subscribing to my channel. Thank you. The Read It Yourself series, Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, a Ladybird book. This edition published in 1978. Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs. This is Snow White. She is a good girl, and she is beautiful. Snow White lives with a beautiful queen. The queen has a magic mirror. The queen likes to look in her magic mirror. She says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" The mirror says, "You are the fairest," and the queen is pleased. One day, the queen looks into her magic mirror and says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" And the mirror says, "Snow White is the fairest." The queen is angry. She says to a man, "Go with Snow White and kill her." Snow White and the man go off into the forest. Snow White says, "Please do not kill me. I will make my home here in the forest, and you can say that you've killed me. I will not go home to the queen." "Off you go then," says the man. Snow White goes off into the forest. She sees a little white house. She stops to look at it. Snow White looks into the little house. No one is at home. She goes in. All the things in the house are little. Snow White gets into one of the little beds. Some dwarfs live in the little house. They come home and see Snow White in bed. "Who's this girl?" they say. Snow White gets up. She sees the dwarfs. "Oh, please help me," she says. "The queen wants to kill me." "Oh, you can live here with us," say the dwarfs. Snow White thanks the dwarfs. The dwarfs go off into the forest to work, and Snow White works in the house all day. One day, the queen looks in her magic mirror and says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" The mirror says, "Snow White is the fairest." "What?" says the queen. "Snow White is not here. She is dead." "No," says the mirror. "Snow White is not dead. She lives with some dwarfs in a little white house in the forest." The queen is angry. "I have to kill Snow White," she says. She gets some apples. One of the apples is big and red. The queen puts poison on the big red apple. The queen puts on her black cloak. She goes to look for Snow White. She comes to the little white house and says, "Can I come in?" Snow White looks to see who is there. The queen says, "Here is a big red apple for you." She gives Snow White the apple with the poison on it. Snow White likes apples. She thanks the queen and has one bite of the apple. And then she falls down as if she is dead. The Queen is pleased. The Queen goes home and looks in her magic mirror. She says, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" "You are the fairest," says the mirror. The dwarfs come home and think that Snow White is dead. "Oh, what can we do?" they say. A prince comes to the house. He sees Snow White and stops to look at her. "Oh, what a beautiful girl," he says. He picks Snow White up, and the piece of poison apple falls from her mouth. Snow White looks at the prince. The prince says to Snow White, "Please marry me." "Yes," says Snow White. She thanks the dwarfs, and then she goes away with the prince. The Queen says to her mirror, "Mirror, mirror on the wall, who is the fairest of us all?" "Snow White is the fairest, and she's going to marry the prince," said the mirror. The Queen is so angry that she falls down dead. Snow White and the prince get married, and everyone is very happy.